Welcome to Hops News, the trusted source in beer culture news. Here's your host, Jay Brew, with special guests, the Hoppy Mommy, Lucky, and Nash.
Hey, welcome back to the porch deck of Jay Brew in North Carolina. Man, what a fucking week. What a goddamn day, man. This day has been crazy from the word go. I've got a cigar in my hand, and I've got a beer right here, and I can't complain because we're here for another episode. So looking forward to this one. Archaic beer laws. That's what we're going to talk about, the main topic tonight. I will tell you, it's still shocking to me, some of the shit that's on the books around beer and alcohol in general. We're going to talk a little bit about that. If you're watching on Facebook, maybe chime in with some crazy-ass beer or alcohol laws that you know about in your area or maybe know about in other areas. I'm always interested to hear about them and like to see what other areas of the country are doing. So that's going to be our main topic. We've got a lot to talk about till we get to that, though. First, let's go check in with Brewwitch up there in Lake Bluff, Illinois. Brew, how's things going up there in Illinois?
Things are going well. I have had a manic couple of 10 days, so I wasn't on the call last week because my sister had a baby, so I've been babysitting on and off for like 10 days. This is fine. Turns out I'm not a fun aunt. I'm like the silly aunt. So like I'm learning a lot about myself right now, and I don't have natural parenting instincts. So I'm coming to accept that about myself. So it's been a busy like 10 or so days. I did manage to get like a Chicago trip in there on a day off, and I tried a new brewery, which I actually had a great time at. It's called Solomos. I had a beer there before. They're based out of a Chicago suburb, but their tap room in Chicago just opened about a week ago, and it was amazing. And like it kind of like revived my interest in a lot of tap rooms. Just feels a lot like the last couple ones I went to, I wasn't too bothered about like the new ones I've tried. But this one was everything I wanted. It was cool. It was like quite cozy. They were killer tapas. I tried two Berliner Weisses, one with raspberries, one with kiwi, both of which were just phenomenal. So it was a great time. If anyone's from Chicago, check it out. It's in like the Logan Square area. So that was great. I'm very excited for the 4th of July. So my hometown is they're very into it. They've had a parade since 1911, apparently. It was only called off a few years during the war, but they love the parade. At some point, we were called the most patriotic small town in America. So I'm stoked about that. It's the one day when the cops don't care if you're just chugging on the street. So I am ready, and I'm excited. So that's what I have going on. Today, I'm drinking one of my faves, Dovetail Brewery. I'm drinking the Dubitsky, which, if you guys haven't had a Dubitsky, it is like a Polish-style beer that is made with oak smoked malt. So it has a very like medium to light smoky flavor. It's really effervescent. Like it has the nickname the Polish champagne. It's excellent. So I'm drinking that today out of my Kavinsky glass. I'm feeling very fancy. So I'm loving it. I'm having a great time.
It definitely, when you mentioned that in our agenda, when you posted that about the town, I looked it up to see if I could find a picture that may have like a banner or something like that, but it was interesting to read about it. So definitely is got to be a cool vibe up there on the 4th of July.
It's a big deal. I don't know what to tell you. If you're trying to tune in, it's on YouTube, and they have all the cast parades on YouTube too. So I don't know why. They're very into it. If you go through the archives, you'll find a few periods where I'm sort of sitting in it. Like, it's something. I don't know what to tell you. I love it. It's just a great
Yeah, for sure. This time of the year has got to be pretty special up there. Good to have you back with us again this week, Brew. You're becoming a regular, and I like it. I like that. I like that Chicago beer vibe, and learn more about that scene on our show. So appreciate you joining us, and looking forward to you hopefully joining us a little bit more throughout the episode. So thanks again for tuning in. And just so everybody knows, Brew Rich does sound a little bit different tonight. She's working off a new setup up there tonight, as with everything. As with everything, yeah, it's one of those things that I definitely have the mic and the setup to send to Brew Witch. I've already got the equipment for her. I just haven't got the package out. So hopefully soon, Brew Witch can join us on this side of the mic.
Yeah, like my bad for putting things through the wash. So sorry. Like that's totally on me. And I have like,
Ooh.
And like I went.
Those are allowed to get wet though.
Are they?
What the Apple Watches? Yeah.
Okay. Like I went through the house and found like all the headphones I could, and like all the jacks are different, and none of them plug in. I don't know how this has happened, so I'm sorry. I can just try the computer audio if you want, but I feel like that won't be any better.
No, I think you're good. Yeah.
Okay.
Appreciate you persevering.
Oh yeah. I might have. This was like ages ago when we talked about it, but they last year they had a I think it was just 24 hours or 48 hours or something. But all proceeds from all the merch went to all Black Lives Matter organizations, and I bought loads of stuff. I was like, this is my day, and I bought like 3 shirts. It was great. It was I wasn't even here to get it. Like I got it a year after. Yeah, no, it's well worth it.
And let's go check in with MASH coming in at literally the last second, right when we were getting ready to 5 seconds before we came live from the countdown. MASH shows up. MASH, good to see you. Looked like you had an awesome trip out to Yellowstone.
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, we very much didn't touch on the fact that it is your birthday. So happy birthday to you, Jay. Happy birthday. This is your day.
Happy birthday to you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. If it would have got off to a better start than what it did today, it would have been a lot better, but it's going to finish with a fucking bang.
You're damn right it is. You're absolutely right. No, the trip was great. I apologize. I got the futon laid out behind me because I have another friend coming in on Friday. So we just have a lot of people, and we're going to have a barbecue on Sunday, and my wife's going to kill me by the end because she's like, give me my house back. But Yellowstone was lit. We saw a ton of bears.
Bears.
Grizzly bear chasing a herd of buffalo. I saw a cinnamon black bear with her cubs. I saw a bear just chilling in the middle of the street. It was like the bear necessities out there. It was insane. We saw, of course, a ton of bison out there. It was crazy. We saw 1.5 million elk. I got some really good photo shots that I'm actually submitting to a competition. The Air Force is putting on like some photo contest to win like $500 in Amazon gift cards. So I'm like, hell yeah, I got some good photos from the wildlife out there in Yellowstone. So I'm going to go ahead and throw my hat in. Worst case, I don't win. And yeah, there's, man, I got to tell you guys, if you can get to Yellowstone, there is probably very little to none better places on earth to go to. It's just no cell service. It's peace and quiet. You got just people out there fly fishing, and it's just nature. It's great.
Did you see Yogi?
Yogi, there was Oh, there was a shirt actually. I saw that was Yogi Bear or not Yogi Bear. It was Smokey the Bear, but it was like we put out, and I was like, ha, ha, ha. 'Cause I'm 12 years old apparently.
Mhm.
But no, it was good over time. Brad, myself, and Mark did not win the Boonshine High County Beer Fest competition. Unfortunately, we found out today. So guess we're not going to be at the beer fest. Bummer, dude.
You guys actually probably won it. They just didn't want somebody from Tennessee to win it.
Well, to be fair, now most of the time the judges and submissions for these beer fests are anonymous. However, there was names listed and all that this time, so maybe the judges knew the brewers who won. I don't know. We won't get into that, but
Yeah.
there's some cheating going on. I know it.
Yeah, that's always interesting. Always interesting. But hey, that was your first beer fest, man. You've got an entry in a beer fest. You're like an experienced brewer now.
I've moved on up in the world, and I just talked to Rob. The beer that is the Dunkin' Donuts beer collab that I'm doing with Woodland Empire. We're gonna be moving forward here shortly, so more to come on that in the next few weeks, more than likely. And I'll actually be there for a brew day. I'll have a say kind of in like the ingredients a little bit, because I got to pick my 3 favorite donut flavors, so like the 3 favorite flavors that are going to go into it. I'll get to go there for a brew day, and they're going to hook me up with some merch, and we're going to do some photo shoots, and it's going to be great.
Awesome. Are you drinking a beer tonight?
I'm not. I got water right now, man. So I'm held together by duct tape at the moment. Literally, I'm getting seen next week. I can't engage my abdomen without feeling like I'm being stabbed with like a very hot knife in it. So I'm like, that's messed up. My ankle, it's sprained from last week. My neck, I can actually turn my neck now, thank God. But I got to start taking better care of my body. So I'm not drinking tonight. Because I drank over the weekend, but I'm just limiting my beer intake, I guess. So I'll drink for Geeks tonight, and then I'll drink again next week. So I'm gonna kind of keep it to Wednesdays as my 2 to 3 beer nights.
All right. I'll send you some cigars in the next box. That'll help you feel
I need
better.
something. Oh, it's 115 degrees outside, by the way. I don't know. We didn't talk about that. I about damn died stepping outside yesterday.
That damn gold bond index is about 14 and a half.
I don't know what more I can do, but it is hot as ball. Oh my God. It's brutal. It is not okay. I'm not okay. Send help, please.
Yeah.
I gotta hydrate.
I can appreciate that. Just so you know, that Yellowstone trip is on my bucket list. I have yet to make it out there, man, but every time you go out there, it looks amazing. I'll
tell you what, man, I got a good campsite, all that kind of stuff. And shoot, if you even happen to come out in the wintertime, they do a trip through the base, and you get to snowmobile through Yellowstone. It's like, for 2 people, it's like $400. You go for like 4 nights. They hook you up with the cabin, food, and they give you a snowmobile, and you go on snowmobile trips throughout Yellowstone in the winter. And I've heard nothing but amazing things. So
yeah,
you come out in the summer, you come out in the winter. Hey, look, I'm 4 hours away. I'm coming to meet you.
That's awesome. Might stop and pick you up on the way.
Oh,
road trip.
Sounds like you got a
road
GD
trip
now.
out at Yellowstone, and they got beers that you can only get in Yellowstone. That I'm going to be sending some to each 3 of you guys. So I got some
Nice.
coming your way.
Nice. Let's go check in with Hoppy. I'm sure it's balls hot in Orlando, Florida. Hoppy, what's the gold bond index down there? Although you're not
Much
suffering
less
like the
than
West
Idaho.
Coast is. Yeah.
I mean, like, we were at a theme park yesterday, and it was like cloudy all day. It was breezy. It was probably low 80s. So, I mean, I wasn't hot at all. So I don't know. Everybody always says like, oh, you can't live in Florida because your summers are so brutal. But we have brutal winters, but lovely summers. But it seems like everybody other than Jay is still complaining about the weather in the summer. So I feel like Florida's not so bad.
Yeah, I'm a little bit pissed off. I actually had to turn the AC on this week.
Well, I've heard that's part of the issue with this heat wave up north is a lot of people don't have AC, which is mind-boggling to myself because I've never not had AC.
Yeah.
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 Fuck. I can tell you, whenever I move, that's the first question about where I'm moving.
Well, I
You
never
have
had
AC
in
or
my
not?
New Hampshire house.
What's that?
My New Hampshire house didn't have air conditioning.
Fuck.
I had to put it in.
That's what she said.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in Florida, if you don't, I have AC, I feel like your house would be condemned after one summer. It would just get so much mold and mildew. Like you can't
yeah, you
not
die.
have AC. Yeah, yeah, you would suffocate and die, and your house would be condemned. But yeah, so Florida's doing good. I hit up a couple breweries this weekend with my dad. I was in Austin drinking with my husband on Father's Day rather than spending it with my dad. So I took my dad to a couple breweries on Sunday. My daughter was our designated driver, so that was nice.
Yeah.
It was my dad, my stepmom, and my oldest, and we went to Castle Church because it was Sunday, and on church you go to church on Sundays. So it's interesting though, Castle Church, if you're ever in the area, they have church at 11:11, and then as soon as it ends, they start pouring beer. So you have this time where you have like the churchgoers and the bar patrons kind of start to overlap a little. And then we went over to Ellipsis, and they're right by the airport. If anybody has a long layover, that's a great place to stop. They have some amazing IPAs and sours. And they even make like flights that look like a freaking rainbow. So
Awesome.
those were the, that's one we didn't hit up either of those when you were here, Matt. So those are, but you've had their beer.
Next time. I have, yes, I have definitely had their beer, and definitely next time we're going.
Beer church. That sounds like my thing right there.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty good church too. And the pastor even, I think it's a Lutheran church because they have a beer that's made after the recipe Martin Luther actually made. And like the beer names are all somehow religious. Like there's Katie's Kolsch, and that was like Martin Luther's wife. So their names are all pretty clever. But like I've seen the pastor, like, you know, cleaning kegs and stuff and running around, and he comes and talks to everybody, and he seems really nice. And one time he was telling us he was a little hungover. I was like, oh, all right then. But,
Yeah.
I'm about to go preach the Lord's word. But first,
Hey.
pop the hangover vitamins.
Yeah.
Right.
Anybody got any happy hours?
Yeah. Jesus
party
turned water
too.
into wine.
Yeah, I'm telling
Yeah.
you, Jesus was a partier. You're not going to convince me any different. If you're living there in the Stone Age, Jesus partied.
Yes.
What do you think he was doing in that cave for 3 days? That man was partying.
Maybe he brought his own
sleeping off
wine. And when
hangover.
people are like, why'd you bring this wine? You weren't supposed to bring alcohol. And he's like, I just made it from water. Ta-da.
Exactly. Straight up, Jesus was in that tomb for 3 days, sleeping off a hangover. That's what he was doing, because he was
Yeah,
like
that
30
makes
years
more
old, and he was like, "Look, I can't
He
party
was
like
like
I
30
used to."
years old.
So
He was like
sleeping off
33.
that killer hangover.
Oh, poor Jesus.
Yeah, you could probably get happy hour vitamins in the church, though. That'd be kind of cool. Get like a little box out there that they dispense them out of. Yeah.
I always have them in
Happy hour
my
vitamins.
I always have them in my purse. So I definitely spread the good news at all the breweries.
Puts
Yeah.
them in the collection plate instead of mine.
No, I always have a fig bar and happy hour vitamins and a koozie and a Hops Geek sticker in my purse. And that's pretty much all that's in my purse.
Oh, I got that
Yeah.
myself, yeah.
So actually, Matt, one of the things I tried this week was hop tea. So if you're trying to drink less, it didn't have too much flavor, but it smelled like beer. So it was kind of a nice. It tasted a little like tea. It's almost like seltzered water with a little bit of flavor, but it smelled like amazing. Better than water.
Maybe I was thinking about ordering some of the non-alcoholic beer actually, but the thing is I got a lot of beer I need to work through too. I need to limit it, how, like, rather than drinking like 4 nights a week, maybe do it 2 nights a week. Keep it limited.
Yeah.
Because I got to get back in my basketball shape and just really, oh God.
Well, we had to get a new fridge this weekend because we got home from Austin and the fridge was saying it was like 57 degrees.
Jeez.
And just moving all the
fridge
beer
too,
from
right?
one fridge to another fridge. Yeah, it was a pain in the ass. The big fridge took a shit. Yeah. So, I'm like, oh my God, there's more. And Josh is like, yes, there's more. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Oh my God, who put all this beer in my fridge? Oh no.
I don't know. I don't know how it happened. But so the beer I am drinking is from Austin, Texas. I got a little crowler of Sun Juice IPA from, of course, Family Business. It's got the cashmere hops. It's got the citra hops. And, of course, I got my glassware because, like Brew was saying, when she spent all that money for charity, I just dropped $200 at Family Business because I wanted all this stuff. It had nothing to do with charity.
You, make sure you save a family business for when we have Woodland Empire on again.
Oh, yeah. And I got my hat. I bought, I think I have 8 more cans. I have one for Ian, though. So I should be good. So tomorrow I will have an Austin Beercation video up. My phone was not being very nice today, but the video is done. I just need to finish exporting it. And it kept making my photos disappear. So if you're ever making an iPhone video with iMovie, take it off the cloud, because if it's on the cloud, the photos will miraculously disappear back into the cloud and not miraculously come back onto your phone. Yes. But I will have that Austin Beercation video up tomorrow, and I will post on all of the social medias when I do. So it was a fun trip. It was an awesome trip. It should be on every person who likes beer's brewery
all the
bucket
good
list.
beer. Yes, we know. It's great.
A little bit of jealousy from Mash tonight. A little bit of jealousy. Now he knows how I feel about Yellowstone.
It's great. It's awful. You don't want to go to Yellowstone. It's a silly place.
Yeah, it's. I look forward to those beercation videos, Hoppy. All of them have been good so far that you guys have put together. I need to get off my ass and do one, especially for some of the locations around here, but I have yet to do that.
Shaking her head, yes.
Yeah, she's like,
yeah, you right.
Yeah.
I need to take a trip.
I'm actually drinking one from Brew tonight. Half Acre.
Yeah.
It's an IPA.
I had that one too.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Great IPA. Definitely highly recommended. My weekend was spent sweating my ass off in Raleigh at a horse show. If you're one person that schedules horse shows, why the fuck do you schedule it at the end of June in Raleigh? It's just...
What, you think it's hot there or something?
Fuck, man.
Come on now.
It is 90 degrees every day. I did check out a couple of cool locations, though. Mash probably recognizes these. Crank Arm, right across the street from the pit. Barbecue stand there. Great food, great beer. Ate too much there for sure, but if you're ever in the Raleigh area, check those two out. Good staples. The Pit is kind of it's probably one of the more popular, I think, barbecue restaurants in the Raleigh area.
That and City Barbecue too.
Yep. And if you're in North Carolina, obviously you probably know that barbecue's kind of a thing around here. So check it out sometime if you're in that area. Always a good time. Let's talk archaic beer laws. I seen researching for my news this episode, I came across an article that talked about Texas recently changed to allow beer sales earlier on Sunday. I can't tell you guys how many times I go to Food Lion on a Sunday. Like, I'm the first one up in the house always, like 8 in the morning in Food Lion, and the last thing I want to do is have to come back and I grab beer, take it to the counter, and the fucking cashier looks at me like I have 3 eyes. And then it kicks in. It's like, son of a bitch.
You can't buy beer that early?
No. Can't buy beer at 8 in the morning on a Sunday in North Carolina.
But I bet you can at 2 in the morning at a club.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. So that kind of got me on the tangent of kind of archaic beer laws or alcohol laws, period, because it doesn't matter if it's wine or beer or whatever, but it's always an interesting topic. Obviously, spending a couple of years in law enforcement that I did, there's a lot more on the books about alcohol that are crazy that most people don't even realize exist, that sometimes isn't an issue or is never created to be an issue. So it kind of brought that up, and that's something we haven't talked about. We've talked about a lot of the history of alcohol and Hoppy's beer school segments that she's done, but haven't really talked about some of the crazy laws that are still on the books today concerning archaic beer laws. Let's go check in with Brew. She's got one on our agenda tonight that she can chat a little bit about as well.
On the agenda, sorry guys.
So I'm coming in with some Irish ones, because they are quite strict on a lot of their alcohol laws. So, for example, based off of what you're saying, I think Monday to Saturday you can't buy alcohol before 12, and then on Sunday it's 10 or something like that. And it's some reasoning about how you can't let people drink before Mass or something on Sunday. I don't know, but the main thing I want to talk about is that up until a few years ago, there was no selling of any alcohol on Good Friday at all. So it was a law since the 1920s or something, and it included Christmas Day, St. Patrick's Day, and Good Friday. And so St. Patrick's Day, that one was repealed at some point in the 60s. But Good Friday was, they wouldn't allow anyone to sell alcohol up until 2018, and people hated it. Like there was illegal raves in like the mountains that people would go to so they could drink and like have a good time on Good Friday. And like there was loads of people talking about it, and like all the liquor stores would make killer money the Thursday before, and apparently they called it Holy Thursday because they made so much money. And I guess a lot of the pub people were pissed off. So eventually in 2018, they got it repealed, and like it was all over the news. Like people can drink on Good Friday, like people are gonna go wild. So like my partner and I, we were in Ireland at the time. We were like, oh my god, people are gonna go insane. Like we should go out, I guess, but we can't go to like busy. We'll have to go early. Like it's gonna be tough. And we went out and like every pub was empty, and like we were the only ones there at like an embarrassingly early time. So people did not lose their minds the way people thought they would. But like this lasted until 2018, and like just to follow up on what you were also saying before about not being able to buy things before certain hours. Like Minnesota, up until a handful of years ago, you couldn't buy alcohol on Sunday at all. And I went to school in Minnesota, and I forgot about it. Like every stupid week, I would forget that you can't buy it. I think it was up until like 2017 or something, and they actually did go wild when it was lifted because everyone I knew was buying like 24 packs and like taking photos in front of whatever supermarket they're nearby. So yeah, that's my story for today.
Yeah, it's always interesting to hear how laws are different around the states, and we'll chat about that here a little bit more in a second. Let's go check in with Hoppy. She's also got some archaic beer laws.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to piggyback real quick on, sorry, Matt, on the blue laws. So the blue laws I always thought were like very unconstitutional, and because they're based on religion. But like when they've brought them to the courts have been like, oh, it's freedom of religion. They should have a day off. The carrier should have a day off. And that's how they've always kind of justified it. But it's like, so give them Monday off. Why do they have to have Sunday off? I guess to go to church. But then that's not separation of church and state. So that's my opinion. But, we have differing laws all over the state. We're county by county. So like in Miami-Dade County, you can buy alcohol 24/7. And then in Broward, they have the same silly stuff on Sunday. You can't get it, which makes no sense because what if you need wine for church? But in Florida, I wasn't certain of this until we had our 40s episode that you can't buy 40s in Florida. So, which I'm really okay with. In Utah, though, until like a year or two ago, and this is why I had actually asked Matt about this when he was in Utah recently. I was surprised when he said it wasn't an issue, and I looked it up, and because they just took it away about a year ago, you couldn't have anything that kids could see you making alcohol. So it was called like a curtain law or something like that, and it was just like, I don't know why the kids would be traumatized if they saw somebody making alcohol. I'm not really sure. But they
don't
did
show the kids how to do it. Do not show the kids how to make
Utah
beer.
things that I found out.
Oh, Zion Curtain.
Ooh,
Yeah, I want to hear more about Utah.
So Utah, you finish yours and then I got a list actually of some.
That was pretty much it for me. I don't really have.
Well,
much.
Utah, they can't serve beer to go that's above 5%, apparently. There's a brewery I went to, Roosters. It opened at 11, but they can't serve beer until 11:30. You can only have one beer on the table per person per time. And yeah, it's just like super, super weird. And as far as their laws go, like I was trying to buy certain beers. They couldn't can certain beers because it was like a 6% beer. And they're like, oh, we can't sell that to go. And I'm just like, what? Why? It makes no sense. Connecticut on Sundays, they can't sell beer to go past after 6 p.m. Apparently, I found that out because I've made friends with a girl who works at the tap room in Two Roads, and she was like tweeting about it one day. She was like, somebody tried to come in and get beer after 6 and was giving a bunch of shit, and I was like, you can't serve beer after 6? Like what?
Wow.
So
weird.
I think is it Oregon or California? I was at one of them, and like they said I couldn't have my daughter, who at the time was like 14, with me in the bar area because she was a minor. Like even at a table, And she's like, wouldn't that be great if you could? I'm like, well, in Florida, you can.
Yeah, that's weird.
Interesting.
I looked up, I looked up by state. I don't know if you want me to go through some ones real quick by state of some funny. There's actually some funny
Yeah.
beer laws.
Sure.
So Alabama, apparently neon signs cannot advertise alcohol. Beer must be sold at room temperature. You cannot have beer consumed in private clubs. Beer, the clubs months are illegal. Student teachers may not be intoxicated.
That's fair.
In Fairbanks,
Yeah, that one's fair.
it is. It makes sense, right? But it's Alabama. Roll Tide. Alaska, apparently, for a long time, it was illegal in Fairbanks to feed moose any alcohol. However, you can do it now because it's no longer against the law. But what is against the law is a brewery can only pour 36 ounces of beer per person in a single day, and they're not allowed to offer music, games, or dancing.
Jesus, that's like Footloose.
Footloose, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly.
It's that, like Alaska. What else is there to do in Alaska besides hike and get drunk? But I don't know. God forbid you go out
Shoot
and have
bears.
a good time, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too. Arizona law permits drive-through liquor stores, and people who become drunk in a bar or restaurant may only be allowed to stay there for 30 minutes, and that's only so somebody can pick them up.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Rather
they
than
can
just
pick-
kicking them out and having them drive, that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
We have drive-through liquor stores.
I think West Virginia does too. Actually, they had like what's called like Gumbies or something. It's like tobacco and liquor. I'm like, yeah, the two things every gun-toting America and Middle America needs, brother.
I mean, America. Well, I mean, Reinhoskgebot is definitely an archaic law that is still in place, but not necessarily enforced. Well, and obviously, Brew can elaborate on that a little more.
Yeah, like I think it's kind of more of like a just marketing term at this point, and like it's kind of ignored. But yeah, I think it is technically still there,
Yeah.
but like no one cares.
This
Well,
is funny.
especially. Oh, go ahead. Which one's
No, go
funny?
ahead. I was just going to continue. Like, keep going. No.
No, I was just going to make the quick comment about like you still got the Hefeweizens and the Gozas, which violate that law anyways, and are still considered classic German beers.
And they've made exceptions for all those. They're like, oh yeah, like there's an exception made for Goza.
Except for that one.
And it's like, okay.
Right.
And
Or
then
only
there's the
that
beers,
brewery.
and then there's like the beers that don't fall under that, and then it's just kind of forgotten. And like they mark some things as not beer because of that, but like it's still like in the drink section. So like it's just a lot of like
Oh, I did see that.
clarification that like
so
doesn't
weird.
really, yeah.
It's like it's a malt beverage. It's not a beer because it's like a
Yeah.
hazy IPA or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so like it's just one
It's
of those
always a
things where, like
loophole.
it's there, but I don't think it really matters.
Yeah.
No.
Arkansas, not only is it illegal to sell beer or alcohol on Sundays, but minors convicted of underage drinking must pay a fine and write an essay about alcohol.
I like that.
Interesting.
I'd
So-
love to read some of those essays.
So Mash actually found the website that I was looking at earlier, and I'll just
you were looking at this one?
yeah, I will tell you a couple on North Carolina. People can get a DWI while driving under the influence on a horse, a farm tractor, four-wheeler, or stand-up scooter with an electric motor. I will tell you,
Oh, good thing
you
Josh.
can also get a DUI, DWI on a bicycle. So those are legit laws on the books in North Carolina. Another one is, and this is a pretty, this is kind of an interesting one because this is talked about a lot, especially in the beer industry, the bar scene, and that sort of thing. Discounting alcoholic beverage prices is illegal in the state. That is why you don't see any happy hours, because you can't have a happy hour in North Carolina, which is totally asinine. The rest of the country is doing it. Why not? It's also illegal to serve alcohol at bingo games.
Bingo games. How do you play bingo then?
Ass, that's why.
How the
Oh,
fuck
man.
do you
Well-
get anybody to go play bingo if you can't drink?
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, I don't see the appeal then. In Wisconsin, you can't have ladies' night because a couple guys sued for discrimination.
Really?
Oh,
Okay.
shit.
It was, I think, Nick Luckman and another guy named JJ. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, there's a whole website, alcoholproblemsandsolutions.org. They've got a bunch of silly shit on here, but they actually have some pretty good information on here as well. Go check it out. They've got a list of stuff on here that you can go read. Washington State's got it nailed. It is a criminal act to destroy a beer bottle or cask.
Yeah.
Good news in Georgia, though. There's no state law against drinking in public.
You know, in Broward County, like when we would leave a club, they would give us a plastic cup to pour our drink into, and we could just, like, you know, you had an open container or whatever. And I remember the first time we went out in Orlando and somebody stopped me with my beer bottle. I was like, "Oh, can I have a cup, please?" And the guy's like, "No." He's like, "There's a trash can right there." I was like, "Oh, sorry."
I will say one last one, Idaho. In Twin Falls, Idaho, which is an hour away from me, you can buy a rifle on election day, but not a shot. And what that is you cannot buy a shot of your favorite liquor on election day.
Shut the front. What?
All right.
And also, infused alcohol is alcohol in which botanicals such as fruit or spices have been soaked. Although very popular, these are illegal in Idaho. So, infusions and barrel-aged cocktails are unavailable in the state.
You have barrel-aged beer.
Yeah,
Don't you?
I guess it's not a cocktail for some reason. I don't know.
Okay.
Weird.
Interesting.
Specific.
Wyoming's got a couple that I got to say as well. No junk dealer may do business with a drunk person. God damn, that must have been a hell of a story. I want to know what
Kansas
created
has a
this
weird
one.
Kansas requires you to be a U.S. citizen for 10 years before buying alcohol.
Oh, shit.
What?
What?
Yeah. Or
Why
have
would
been a
anybody
resident for
immigrate there?
Kansas for 4 years. That's weird.
Yeah. Here's
so
another
nobody
one
would
for
ever
you.
want to move there then.
Yeah, why?
Well, yeah, there's a reason why it's all cornfields and stuff, right?
Here's Wyoming with a little gender-based discrimination. It is illegal for a woman to stand within 5 feet of a bar while drinking.
California
Where
has
is
one
that?
that's
Wyoming.
well,
What?
there are no
I wanna go
women
to
in
Wyoming and
It's just a
drink
bunch
on
of
top
dudes
of
at a
all the
dude
bars.
ranch. California actually has illegal. It's illegal to have ladies' nights for gender discrimination.
Yeah, I can believe that one out there. Also in Wyoming, it's illegal for an intoxicated person to be in a mine.
That seems like a good idea.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds like good advice.
Louisiana, apparently, you cannot have open alcohol containers. It's illegal. But like, literally, have you been down Bourbon Street?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's not enforced.
It smells like liquor and urine.
Yeah. Always some interesting shit to talk about. Some of those laws, like it's illegal to be intoxicated and in a mine. It's like, what the fuck situation created that law? I want to know the backstory.
yeah.
What clown made that law come into Austin?
Someone got drunk and started mining, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, just some crazy shit out there. But it's always interesting. I think that if there is a section of laws on the books across the United States that needs to be updated, it's definitely alcohol laws. Whether it's beer, wine, or liquor, it's all extremely outdated. The sad part about this is we're seeing marijuana laws move quicker than we see alcohol laws change. I mean, it takes...
they're new, yeah.
Yeah, they're
Very
honestly pretty
weird.
rapid.
Yeah,
I think
and
it's because these alcohol laws are so old and they're not being enforced. So a lot of times it's just a matter of, bringing it up and having it repealed. And if people are like, well, if it's not being, like, I very seriously doubt Wyoming is enforcing the fact that women aren't allowed to drink within 5 feet of the bar. If somebody did start enforcing it, then they'd be like, okay, we need to change this law because this is clearly unconstitutional and ridiculous.
Very true.
But with marijuana, because it's been illegal since like 1937, and as they're making it legal, they have to put all these laws on the books for it. So that would be my opinion as to the issue.
Yeah, without a doubt. And obviously the bigger thing with alcohol laws and just being, I think as honest as I can be, a lot of the laws protect the big beer companies, right? Because it's easier for them to deal with those laws than what it is for small, time brewers that, not having a happy hour is a big deal for a small brewery. That is stuff that helps them get started, and it's ways that new breweries outside of our state are able to promote themselves. Hey, come to us. Our happy hour is 50 cents off drafts or whatever it may be. it's a way to get people in the door, and it's definitely a competitive edge when you're able to do things like that. So it's always interesting to see stuff like that and talk about it, and then to hear about the different things. This is the first time that I've actually went through a list of states like that and seen how crazy some of them are. So interesting conversation, interesting laws for sure. Let's move into some beer news now. We've got some beer news. Hoppy's got some good beer news. Let's go check out Hoppy down there in Orlando, Florida for her beer news. Hoppy, what's going on in the world of beer?
So the world of beer gets some very interesting stories here and there. So this one has to do with actually a shipwreck. So there's an over 100-year-old beer was found from a shipwreck off the Scottish coast. So a lot more than one bottle, as you can see in the picture. So they opened some of the beer. The beer stunk and tasted horrible, and some of it even exploded because of the change in pressure from being, underwater and being above water. But they were able to actually extract the yeast, and they brewed a stout from it. And they said the stout was delicious. The yeast was Brettanomyces, which you often see in sours, and another one called Debermyces. That one, they said, is not very common anymore. They usually see it in Belgian beer that's openly fermented, or called, spontaneous fermentation, where they basically leave the container open and any yeast in the area could get in there. So they said that was a very uncommon yeast to find. What makes this really cool, though, it's not just like, oh, cool, let's turn this treasure into some new beer like the yeast from the brewer's beard, or, some of these weird things you've seen lately. Historic yeasts can actually be more durable, and they can help the brewers learn to, innovate and be creative and whatnot with the beer styles and the beer longevity and all sorts of different things. So it's actually really cool, and not just for, shits and giggles, so to speak. But I guess because, back in the day, they used to literally pull the yeast from the batch that was done and just put it into the next batch. And so over the time, that yeast can be smaller and smaller and smaller. So certain yeasts must have just kind of dissipated to an extent. So this was pretty cool.
Yeah, great article there. We'll chat a little bit more about it here in just a second. Let's go check in with Brew, and her beer news is pretty interesting. I actually saw this while I was skimming through to find one for myself, Brew, but tell us a little bit about what Heineken's doing.
So Heineken are currently releasing an automatic cooler robot. So yeah, there it is. It's genuinely a little robot, like something in space, something you would send to the moon or something. Apparently it has sensors, it has 6 wheels. It's called the Beer Outdoor Transporter. It can fit up to 12 cans and ice. Apparently, I don't think they're making many. They seem to have a sign up for it, and they have a competition, but I don't think it's going to be readily available on the market. But if you Google it, there's a video of it just kind of following people around at parties, and it's actually wild and something that I don't think I need. I'm actually,
I think it's a need. I'm pretty sure it is.
Tailgating.
I was thinking about this, and it's what if you're in a crowd? Will it be able to navigate a crowd? Because I was thinking about the 4th of July when I'm walking around, because I don't really have a bag to carry all the beers I'm going to be solo drinking at the 4th of July, because I have no one to hang out with. But if I'm walking down the street and there's a crowd, will it be able to follow me? That's my main question.
Right. Does it lock onto your genetic code? Stay with me.
Yeah. See, this is where we need a drone beer situation, where it kind of flies above you and drops you a beer, when you lift your hand or something.
Look to the sky and you're like Thor reaching for his hammer, but instead it's
I love that.
It's a 16 ounce. Yeah, that's exactly what I want.
Somebody's got to be working on that somewhere.
Hand, and she's like, "There we go.
Yeah,
I'm still worthy.
I'm still worthy. I'm still drunk."
Somebody has to be working on that somewhere. A beer delivery. So the bot is what they call it. The beer. What was that? Beer Outdoor Transporter, short for bot, interestingly enough. So somebody's got to be working on the drone, though. I'm sure that we're going to see some beer delivery done by drone before too long. Hoppy, the best part about your article was the part about the yeast. And I know you don't like Dogfish Head, but I believe they were probably one of the first to use ancient yeast that were found in brewing vessels and kind of brought it back to modern times with some of the stuff, the crazy stuff that they've put out. So it's always interesting to hear stories about that, right? It's the same way with, I'm sure, wines, if they can do it with wines. If they find stuff like this in shipwrecks or burial sites or whatever it may be, to be able to to bring that yeast back and use it from so many years ago. Obviously, a lot of the yeast are from that. The gene pool is from those yeast, but I think yeast is probably a lot like everything else. It evolves over time and changes with the different products and stuff like that they're putting it in. So it's going to be interesting to see if somebody does like a mass production of that beer using that yeast that we can actually try from yeast from so long ago.
Yeah. And when I was in White Labs in North Carolina, I brought home the cans. It was the 4-pack, and 2 of them were with one yeast and 2 with another yeast. And other than that, everything was exactly the same. And I was actually surprised that you could tell the difference. So we really don't give yeast too much credit as consumers as to the effect that it actually has on the beer. So
yeah, that's an interesting. We need to see if we can do that sometime. Hoppy, is that something they have on a regular basis available?
I think so. I can find, they had more than one option. And when you go, next time you're in Asheville, you should definitely go there. The food was amazing as well. And the food is like, they use the brewer's yeast for like the pizza crust and stuff. But on the menu, and you can even see it in my Asheville Beercation video, they'll have a bunch of different beers. And like this one's with this yeast strain and this one's with that yeast strain. And you can get stouts and IPAs and all sorts of different styles. As far as if they have the cans readily available to go, I'm not sure if they always have that. I would think they do because it looked like they must have always had it on draft.
Yeah, that'd be a cool episode. Next time I'm down that way, I might stop in there and see if I can pick up enough for everybody on the show. That would make a pretty cool, like, vertical tasting of different yeast styles in the beer and just chat about it because, like you said, the average consumer has no idea what different strains of yeast are doing to the beer that they're drinking.
Yeah, there's a woman in Berlin who's been exclusively brewing Berliner Weisses, and she'll go on eBay and buy all these old bottles of Berliner Weisses from like before World War II, and she'll use it to extract the yeast and make new brews.
Wow.
It's so cool. She'll
That
post
is
photos
cool.
of the things that she's buying, and she'll go to like garage sales and flea markets exclusively to find old bottles of beer, just to find the yeast and like use it for her own stuff. It's so cool.
Well, I believe John Kimmich at The Alchemist, I'm going to look this up to verify it, but I think he did Heady Topper, one of the beers, with the yeast from Burlington Brewery, which is where he got his start.
Oh, cool.
But I
Yeah.
have heard of home brewers. I guess he said he's had home brewers will actually get Heady and try to pull the yeast from the cans and try to brew their own beer to try to copy Heady.
Mm-hmm. Yep, pretty common in the homebrew world. Pretty common. All right, let's, where are we at now? Hoppy, you've got a little, Hoppy's got a little segment on some beercation survivability. Let's go check in with Hoppy and talk about some beercation survivability tips.
So my tips, and like I said, I'll have my beercation video up tomorrow. You definitely got to have your happy hour vitamins. Another thing we brought is a water bottle that has a filter in it because you absolutely have to stay hydrated and you never know if the water is going to be good. I noticed, Matt, you had them when you came to visit us here, and we actually ordered them on Amazon like the day before we left. And that was awesome because we could fill our water up anywhere and didn't have to worry about the water being gross. Another tip is, I made the mistake in Vermont of eating too healthy. Don't get a salad with salmon. If you're trying to be somewhat healthy, get the turkey burger. Definitely never forget to eat. I keep fig bars in my purse because they're filling. They're not the best tasting, but they're filling. And if we ever end up at a brewery too long, I can eat my fig bar. You want to double dose on your happy hour vitamins on Beercation. And this is another one that I know some people are not for, but exercising definitely helps. We ran twice when we were in Austin. We did 2 5Ks. We ran over the bridge. It's a beautiful way to see the city that you're visiting. And 2, you're going to feel a lot better later when you're drinking all that beer. And my last tip of advice would be something I wish I would follow that I never follow, that I wish I always would follow when I have a hangover. If you think you need one more beer, you probably don't need just the one more beer. You've probably already had your last beer. And then I guess my last tip of advice would be check if you're flying, check the prices on baggage fees. I brought an extra soft bag inside my suitcase in case I needed an extra bag to check. So it was $30 to check. And I brought big Ziploc bags to bring all my beer home. I wrap it in dirty clothes. And then I have a big waterproof bag that I actually put all my dirty clothes in anytime we travel. And then I put the beer in there. So the beer is safe in plastic bags, then wrapped up in dirty clothes, and then in a big laundry bag. And I put all that in one suitcase and check it. and it was 49 pounds. I made it just barely. So weigh it before you go up to the thing. And those
Sounds
are my
exactly
beercation
like when I was
travel
leaving
tips.
Orlando.
Yeah, that's some great packing tip. I actually have a little scale that wraps around the handle of the suitcase that stays in my suitcase, just for
Nice.
that reason. So yeah, it's always fun to travel to places like that, and when you're bringing back alcohol, you definitely want to know the weight that you're at in that bag because it can cost you for sure.
Yeah, I was 1 pound over and quickly was like pulling stuff out and shoving it into our carry-on.
Yeah, that's awesome. I look forward to that beercation video. Let's go check in with Mash. Let's get some parting shots. And what do we have to look forward to from the Geeks crew, Mash?
Well, big things. We got merch now. Head on over to Threadless, search Hops Geek News. We got some merch on there. You can get anything from our sidekick there. His name is Hopper, and we got even like a retro arcade look, and then of course our normal comic book style one. So we got a lot of things there. So far, Lauren and I have ordered some stuff. I got some keychains coming in from the Geeks. We're going to be getting some stickers soon as well that are going to be QR coded, hopefully. And that way you can just scan, and we're going to be passing those around town because a brewery in Boise and then my comic book shop said that we can leave stacks of stickers with them for people to take. As far as guest wise, we just released our episode with Brewwitch and Empirical Brewing. Eric Oren, such a great human being, wicked funny, really great episode. He also does comedy, and that was a great episode. Next week is going to be our Black Widow episode. We are going to record the news part of that, and then also I'm going to interject my Fast 9 review into this episode as well, so be on the lookout for that because that movie's a fucking trip, dude. I loved it. God, I can't get over how amazing it was. Anyway,
I saw your tweet today talking about it.
Yeah, God, man, I just don't know if I have the words. I'm going to try to keep it short, but we'll see how that goes. And surprisingly, Shark Week is actually already coming up on July 11th. So our interview with Thunder Levin, the writer of Sharknado, is going to be dropping that week. So we got a lot of good stuff going on. We're going to start making our list of things we need to take to Comic-Con because that's coming before we even know it. And yeah,
Comic-Con
happening.
Plug that. When is that again, and where is it?
September 16th to September 18th, Fan Expo in Salt Lake City. I'm getting closer to getting Hoppy to join us. We'll see. I'm getting there. It's like an axe pick going through the mines. I'm telling you, we're gonna get there.
Just don't go in there if you're drunk. That's illegal.
Nope, we're gonna get there. And so yeah, that's in Salt Lake City, September 16th to 18th. We have press passes. The Geeks will be there doing our first media tour, so it's gonna be great.
Do you have the panels picked out that you're going to attend yet or anything like that? Are you still working through those lists?
Nope, they're still announcing guests. So far, there's some Supernatural, Doctor Who guests. Ashley Eckstein, who voiced Ahsoka, she's going to be there. So that's a big one I want to hit because she's one of my favorite Star Wars, the Clone Wars characters. All the Stranger Things kids are going to be there. But they haven't even announced like their big guests yet. So normally there's like Marvel characters there. So if that's the case, I am jumping all over that in a fucking heartbeat. So more to come there as they announce more guests.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. The last episode that you guys just dropped Monday was great with Brew. That was a great listen. Go check it out. Yeah, go check it out. Good information. The guy that you guys chatted with was great. Definitely an interesting character with an interesting path to where he's at now and what he's doing with breweries. So go check that out. Good information. And that featured Brewwitch. Brew, what's your parting shots? And tell us a little bit about being on the episode with Geeks.
I mean, that was great. Like, the guy from Empirical Oren was a delight. He was so funny, and he was cool, and like, I've talked to plenty of people who work in breweries who are not very personable, but he was excellent and he was so fun. So I liked being on it. It turns out I had nothing to share about pop culture when they turned it to me later, though. So like I need to like be prepared the next time. And like,
great. We loved having you on.
I need to like watch something good. Like you guys dropped like 10 names I'd never heard of that were all characters from something. I don't know. Like I honestly knew nothing. So I did not realize I was so out of touch. So otherwise it was really fun. Speaking of Empirical, the last beer I'm drinking is Heliotropic. It's a hazy rye pale ale. It was my other option to send you guys, and I wasn't sure. Like, I went between this and that ginger wheat beer I sent you, but I ended up picking the ginger wheat because that is what a lot of the people working in the bar like the most. Yeah, like it's just such a good beer, and a lot of the people working there love it. So I was like, you know what, this is the one they love. I'm gonna send this one off.
Mm-hmm.
So it was
I
great.
think
I
I'm gonna
love.
drink the Space for Everyone just for my Fast 9 review.
I mean, like it's a phenomenal beer. Like I actually really loved it, and like when hopefully you get there, Mash. There are other sours that are on tap, and they're more like experimental beers are excellent. So you'll have a lot to choose from.
Nice.
Otherwise, I have an article that'll be up tomorrow. I've mentioned this for weeks because I'm so slow at accomplishing anything. But I have an article about shower beers, pivotal stuff coming up.
Riveting. No, that is riveting journalism. We need this.
Yeah. I am achieving big things, and I'm gonna get awards, countless awards. So like
you
we're gonna
absolutely are.
be noticed. People are gonna pay us big money for this kind
Who's
of
the
nonsense.
next person that's going to get your media pass? You know, I have faith. Bruce getting the next media pass. From
I
our group.
love it. Yeah, I love it.
God, I hope so. So that'll be up tomorrow. And then otherwise, I'm sure I'll have loads of things happening on Instagram for the 4th of July. I've been panic buying loads of beers. So like stay tuned to see whatever I'm doing because I'll be drinking all day. So yeah, talk to you guys soon otherwise.
Awesome. Hoppy, what do we have to look forward to in parting shots?
And have you bought your Salt Lake City plane ticket?
I have not bought my Salt Lake City plane ticket. I booked a trip to the Keys. That's gonna be fun.
Woo.
Well, I got uninvited on the California trip that we were supposed to go on because I found out we would be camping, and my husband said, "Well, I'm gonna have more fun if you're not there since we're camping and you hate camping." So I'm not
looks
going.
Like you gotta make a sec. You come out to Salt Lake City.
Well, I
look at that.
do have a plane credit now, so we'll have to see what happens.
It's happening, folks. It's happening.
There you go.
No, don't.
I'm telling
Scott
everybody you're
start
going to be there.
yet.
No excuses.
I'm telling everybody. I'm telling everyone.
Yeah, Matt said all our parting shots. So we got Black Widows coming out on Monday night, and then the movie comes out Thursday night or Friday morning. That is the one downfall. Josh won't be here, so I'll probably end up buying it on Disney Plus because I am not waiting to see Black Widow.
Oh yeah. Thank you for reminding me. I was trying to find a babysitter. We can just buy it on Disney Plus.
Yeah, well, if I had the option, I was hoping that was going to be the first movie I saw in the theater because I haven't been to the theater, I think, since Spider-Man Far From Home. Maybe. I don't know. So we'll see. That's basically my parting shots is, Empirical was awesome. That dude was awesome. Anytime he wants to come on and talk anything, he is welcome to come on.
Yeah.
Definitely need to get to Chicago one day, and that will be the first brewery I go to when I do. But yeah, we had a great time and can't wait for Black Widow because we had a couple. Micah was on our Black Widow one, so that'll be airing
and
soon.
Hops and Heroes.
Yes.
Yeah. Sounded like Empirical was right up the geek's alley.
Oh, it was great.
The
Thank you,
Darth
again.
Malt.
What
was it? Darth Malt Sith Lord.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That complicated name.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
So I'll chime in for Lucky since he hasn't been with us a couple episodes. Lucky and the Feelin' Lucky crew almost feels like they're going through a separation. If you're a listener of the Feelin' Lucky episodes, which if you aren't, you're missing out on three guys that are just, I mean, they're just guys, and they're guys through and through, and they talk about really guy stuff. So it's an interesting listen. One of them has recently landed a new job that's going to separate them by probably 800 miles or so. I would imagine he's moving from Wisconsin down to South Carolina and taking up a new position down there. So the Feelin' Lucky crew is a little bit in limbo. The reason Lucky hasn't been with us is because he says he spilled water on his computer. I highly doubt that it was water. And unfortunately, the poor soul didn't have Apple Care on it. So he's trying to figure out how he can join us again and get back with us. Hopefully next week he'll be able to do that. But I would imagine after the Feelin' Lucky crew figures out how to navigate their recording over long distances again, that they'll be producing some good content again. So stay tuned for those guys.
Right? We've never filmed an episode together.
Yeah. It's pretty easy. You just got to do it, guys. But
Hop on the damn Zoom.
yeah. Yeah, I would imagine those guys would do it. Big Daddy is the guy that's moving. He's probably just doing a lot, trying to prepare for it, and really doesn't have the time to do it right now. So I would imagine when he gets down there and gets settled, you'll hear some more from them guys. So, hey, appreciate you tuning in to another good episode. Archaic beer laws. That is an interesting topic, and we might have to dive into that a little deeper sometime. And Mash has got a good topic that we'll celebrate and talk about on the next person's birthday, but this is one that we already had in the books and it sounded good. So that's what we ran with tonight. Brew, appreciate the good beer. That was a solid choice that you sent in that package.
I'm so glad you like it. It's such a good beer, and I'm so glad it's such a staple here now. It's excellent.
Nice. Yeah, I can see that it would be a staple. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Have a great week and be safe on this 4th of July celebration, and make sure you drink a shit ton of damn beer wherever you're at.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Keep all your fingers.
Yeah.
Beer
Yeah.
ball.
Just leave the fireworks to somebody else.
Yeah. Actually, a piece of beer news I should have shared. I guess PBR did a case of 1,776 beers.
Oh, shit. Nice.
Yeah.
Can you buy it?
I think so. I'll find the article. I have the article in my email. Maybe I'll post it on 4th of July.
Yeah. I'm going to see if I can find it.
One thing I forgot to mention is, so like in Germany, you can drink on the streets, no problem. Like you can drink anywhere. However, they have crazy fines for riding your bike while drunk. And like, it's like a 500 euro fine or something, and it catches so many people. Like it's such an easy catch.
Damn. Yeah. That's how I would get to the beer festivals down there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
honestly.
The cops
Like,
just wait for everybody to start riding their bikes home.
Yeah, apparently it's quite strict, and they're like quite serious about it. I don't know.
Hey, the Polzai is no fucking bullshit over there.
Yeah, honestly.
Hey, I'm not shitting you. They drive in the smallest cars they can buy, and all of them are like 6'6", and just...
And terrifying looking. Yeah.
Monsters when they get out of the car.
They're giant. They're wearing like bulletproof vests, and you have no idea what they're saying. It's a lot.
Yeah. I thought they were coming after us one time over in... where was it at? I can't remember the damn city we were in, but man, we had had way too much to drink, and they fucking come squealing up in the car just about sideways, driving up on the car and jumped out, and I'm like, holy shit, I didn't do nothing wrong. Ran by us, pushed us, and went up to this guy that was shooting up and just wore his ass out. Wore him out right on the street. Tossed him in the car and left.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was a Frankfurt, Germany. That's where we was
right,
at.
okay.
Yeah, that's a goddamn Brew. That's a wild place. That is a wild, wild place. All right, folks. Appreciate you guys joining us again tonight. It was a good episode. Look forward to next week. You guys recording tonight, the geeks?
Yeah, I'm gonna send the link in a minute.
What are you guys recording tonight?
We just have to do our for the Black Widow episode.
Nice. And this is
And
the one
that
with the
comic
Fast and
book review.
Furious coming out with this one, Mash?
Oh, I didn't read the comic. Shit,
You didn't read the comic?
I haven't had time.
Okay, we can do it next week.
That's a pivot. That's what you call a pivot, right? Ain't that what they call a
Because
pivot?
it comes out.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, it comes out the 14th. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah,
We're
we have
good.
time.
Okay, we're good.
But then we're just
I'm-
doing our news for Black Widow.
We're doing